This is Frank Consello with the Crested Butte Home Podcast, and whether or not you know my guests this episode or not, you certainly know their skis. Caleb and Morgan Weinberg are the owners of ROMP Skis, and in this episode we of course talk about skis and skiing and how they make ROMP skis right here in Crested Butte, Colorado. I recorded this episode about a year ago in 2021, but life got a little crazy. We ended up moving next door while we remodeled our place, and sometimes all the way down to the studs, so that got a little bit crazy. And then by the time we got back, it was summer, and as many of you are probably aware, real estate in Crested Butte and Gunnison was pretty crazy in 2021. So I just got really busy and unfortunately couldn't get one of these out as quickly as I wanted. But I think this episode is going to be well worth the wait. I'm back, at least for now, and enjoy this next episode with ROMP Skis. Today on the Crested Butte Home Podcast, my guests are Caleb and Morgan Weinberg from ROMP Skis. So tell me a little bit about yourself and where you're from, just to get things rolling.
I'm Caleb. I have lived here in the Gunnison Valley since 1992. Grew up in northern New Hampshire, moved here to go to school at Western, but really moved here to be here, and been here ever since.
And how about you, Morgan?
Obviously, I grew up in New Hampshire as well, and I moved here in '96. I moved away for about 3 years to Vancouver, British Columbia, but otherwise I've lived here in Crested Butte since then.
Well, I want to talk about Vancouver real quick. How'd you end up moving there and getting into Canada and all that?
I went to film school up there, and then after I went to school, I actually moved back down here and then wanted to get some hands-on experience in the film industry. And, you know, I had some connections from school up there, so I moved back up. I actually was when we were on student visas when I lived up there the first time. And then when I moved back, my wife was still in school. So I was on it's like a spouse work visa.
Gotcha. Well, obviously there's a lot of filming up there, so that all makes sense too. Well, let's back up a little bit though. So New Hampshire, tell me about growing up there and what you're into.
Well, I mean, that's what tied so well into moving here, I guess, is that we did the same kind of things there. You know, I think I got my first mountain bike in 1986, I think, in New Hampshire for my 12th birthday. I think that's right. And obviously we both started skiing when we were, little kids, 3-4 years old. We grew up right near Cannon Mountain, which was our home ski area. The kind of outdoor lifestyle that people live here in Crested Butte was what we were doing there. I came out, when I was 16, I came out and skied in Vail for a week, and it snowed a foot every night and was bluebird every day for a week. And I said, when I graduate from high school, I am coming here.
Nice.
So I wanted to come to Colorado, and I had friends that were already going to Western that had graduated from high school a little before me. So I followed them here after skiing in Crested Butte when I was in high school. And obviously it's the best ski area there is. So where else would you want to be?
Do you remember your bike from 1986?
Yeah, I don't remember the model. It was a Ross.
I think it was a Mount Hood, right?
It might have been a Mount Hood. The frame was obviously, and the frame was chrome, which was so badass.
Yeah, no, my first mountain bike was also 1986. It sounds like we're the exact same age because I graduated high school in 92 as well. Good stuff. 10 speeds if you were lucky, maybe 12, I don't know. But
oh yeah, friction shifters.
Yeah, the whole brakes that sort of work, as long as they were dry.
Right. In New Hampshire, it was basically, we had like logging roads and power line cuts.
Hiking trails.
That you could ride on, yeah. And then we found out those were kind of boring, so we started riding on the hiking trails. But in New Hampshire, all the hiking trails are really, really steep, straight up and down granite. So they would probably be really fun on the current bikes. On those bikes, we got our butts kicked.
Yeah, totally. That sounds like, looking back at what I was trying to ride as a kid, is it'd be easy now, but at the time it was really hard on those bikes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Over the bars a lot.
Well, cool. I'm just going to skip ahead. You've done a bunch of other interviews, so I know kind of a little bit of the story behind ROMP was it's, right after the 2008 recession and works a bit slower. And Morgan, you see some YouTube videos of someone making some skis and you're like, oh, let's make some skis. So, was this a business idea from the start or just something you were going to do because things were a little slower and you had the time?
It was just something to do for fun. I've just always been kind of a tinkerer, and I just wanted to try making skis because, we ski every day and it's these things that I've always bought, and I thought it would be cool to make a pair. It was a lot harder than what it seemed.
Of course.
Our first ones were pretty janky, although they skied good. They fell apart, and but it was super fun. And you actually, it is something, they're not, the skis you can make in your garage definitely aren't, the quality of a factory ski, but they are skiable, and you can do it with pretty minimal tools. So it is a fun project for anyone to kind of try.
Nice. Well, let's just go straight to there then. I mean, describe shortly the Cliff Notes version, how a ski is made and what the different kind of main components of a ski are.
So it's basically the base and edge, and the base is, it's known as Ptex, but it's actually polyethylene, and the edges are metal, and they're mostly made in Europe. So you gotta, order those, but there's places that sell them in the US, and then a wood core or a core. We use wood core. Most skis these days are wood core. And then you need some kind of reinforcement for the wood core. So that can either be metal or fiberglass. Our most of the skis we make are fiberglass or carbon fiber. And then some kind of plastic top sheet. We currently are using a nylon top sheet. There's, a bunch of other plastics that can be used. Yeah.
All right. Well, you already brought up a good point. So the materials, I've always been curious where you order that, and you're saying the edges are mostly out of Europe. Where are you buying all these other parts?
So the base that we use is manufactured in the US, but there's also European manufacturers for that. And then the top sheet's made in Europe, because basically if it's a ski specific material, it comes from Europe. The base material has other uses, like it's a low friction plastic. So like the high fax on a snowmobile that the track runs on is made out of the same ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. Like the runners that a conveyor belt would run on is made out of the same material. So that's something.
Escalators.
Yeah, escalators. Like any kind of it's a super low friction material. So anything that has something running at high speed on it, that like they're going to use that plastic for it. The wood we use is poplar, and it's grown in the kind of mid-Atlantic states of the U.S. Yeah, and then the fiberglass, we get it from a U.S. supplier. I'm actually not even sure where it's made, but.
Gotcha. And when that stuff comes to you, like the poplar, is that just coming in big sheets? Like what does it look like?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we've bought the wood in a few different ways. When we started doing this, we were definitely on we're going to make every single part of the ski mentality. So we were actually buying roughs on boards, and you basically glue up a stack of boards and then do what's called vertically resawing it. So you end up with a ski core, which is roughly 6 inches wide, made up of 5 or 6 boards and a ½ inch or so thick. But that required us to have an entire wood shop here in our ski factory. And in Crested Butte, as we all know, every square inch of your building is worth more than you want to know. So having a whole wood shop in our ski factory was taking up space that we thought could be better used. So now we're buying our wood cores from a big wood shop in a city, basically, that can manufacture them faster. And it's the exact same product. It's made of the same wood. Everything's the same as we were doing it on our own. We just reclaimed some of our shop with some tools we didn't need to have in here.
Sure. And how about the Ptex? Is that coming in thin sheets, or what does that look like?
Yeah, it comes in a roll.
Okay.
It's a couple 2.5 millimeters thick, and it comes in a, about 1.5 foot wide roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So at this point, you're just kind of tinkering around, having some fun making skis. I mean, were you kind of taking like your favorite ski and trying to recreate it, or were you playing around with crazy different ideas?
The first ski that we made at the time, Morgan and I were both skiing on a Line Prophet 100, which I still think was a great ski. Mm-hmm. And but we wanted something wider. So the very first skis we made were basically if you took a Line Prophet 100 and cut it down the middle and made it wider. That was our, we copied their shape. There was a lot of, when you're trying to make a pair of skis in your garage, there's a lot of problems. So designing the whole thing from scratch is not really necessary.
Right.
In that situation. So those first ones we made 4 or 5 pairs in that shape. And those, was basically a copy of that ski that we liked, just fatter.
Yeah. How would you describe yourselves as skiers? And why did you like that line ski or whatever?
Well, I mean, we both grew up skiing on the East Coast, and we both raced through high school. So Morgan and I are both what I would call edgy skiers. We really like our skis to carve. We value the ski holding an edge. So, for us, those line skis were, it was like the first really big step, I think, away from when, everyone used to ski in the 80s and early 90s, right? If you wanted the best skis, you bought race skis, except they weren't the best skis for what we were doing at all, right?
No.
They just were well made, but they weren't for skiing the head wall, that's for sure.
Right.
So I think the design where they had more side cut and some more width, that Prophet 100 was 100 underfoot. So that was a really fat ski at the time. And the amount of side cut made it carve turns really well, but it also would get up on top and allow you to ski the fall line, like we do now, opposed to, the way we used to kind of have to hack our way down everything on old straight skis.
Right. So, all right. So those, those first skis were kind of skis that you were into. Now you have, we'll get there too, but you've got a handful of skis that you've designed. Like, are those all skis that you kind of designed for yourself in different conditions? Or are some of those skis, like, did you have someone in mind, like Bill needs a ski like this, and this is a good ski for this guy? Might not be a good ski for me, but
no, we've definitely gone far beyond just the skis for us. We have a lot of different models now, and they're all for different skiers that are going to use them in different ways. And then our custom process allows us to really fine tune just that outer shape that we set through testing. And then we can really fine tune it to any skier. And that's really the beauty of the small factory and the custom skis, is that we can build a ski exactly for someone else. It's not designed for me. It's not supposed to be my favorite ski. It doesn't matter if it would even work for me at all, because it's not for me, it's for you.
In the Crested Butte Real Estate Minute, as you're probably aware, real estate has been exploding since the summer of 2020, both locally and across the country. As I mentioned earlier, it took me a little while to get this episode out because 2021 was just so busy for me. In fact, I also switched brokerages. I am now with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Today Realty and Associates, located in both Gunnison and Crested Butte, which has been a great change. And it was a great year for me. I was awarded the Chairman's Circle Gold, which means I was in the top 2% in Berkshire Hathaway. But going back to local real estate, we simply don't have a lot of inventory still. In fact, it's going down even further, which is hard to imagine because it's so thin as it is. And be curious to see if summer 2022, if we get a little bit more inventory and things start moving a little bit better. But for now, if you are even remotely considering of selling, why don't you give me a call and we can talk about it. My name is Frank Consella. My website is CrestedButteRealEstateAgent.com, and you can check that out for all things Crested Butte and Gunnison real estate. Let's get back to the show with ROMP Skis. Cool. Well, we'll definitely get to custom and some of that. Maybe before we get there, for people who aren't super familiar with skis, let's just talk about some of the ski shape things and what they are. So quick rapid fire answers. What's side cut?
So side cut is basically a section of a giant circle that is taken out of the side of your ski. If you look at the top of your ski, your ski looks somewhat like an hourglass, and that curve on the sides is the side cut.
Yep.
And it's what allows your ski to easily carve a turn. So when you put your skis up on edge, they don't want to track in a straight line. They bend and carve a curve onto the snow.
Perfect. Yeah. And smaller numbers is a smaller turn, and a bigger number is a bigger turn.
Exactly.
Camber.
So camber is the arch of your ski off the snow. The same as like a leaf spring in a car. If you put your ski on a flat surface, you can see under the middle of it, and that arch is the camber.
Perfect. Rocker / profile.
So rocker or early rise is in a traditional ski shape. You would have camber from all the way from the tail to where the tip curved up, and the entire ski would be cambered. So rocker or early rise would be the portion in the tip or the tail of the ski that is lifted off the ground before you get to the tip curves.
Perfect. Yes. Instead of a single arch, more like a exaggerated, M or something.
Yeah.
Up and down. And
basically taking that ski tip shape and pulling it back further towards your foot on the ski so that it's a more gradual arc off the snow, which makes it so the ski, it wants to be on top of soft snow more than that shorter radius tip wants to plow snow sometimes and
sure
doesn't work as well in soft snow.
Perfect. And then maybe the last one we'll go with flex.
We do flex in 3 locations on our ski. So we do tip, tail, and center. We rate those flexes in soft, medium, and stiff with some in-betweens like a medium plus, medium minus. And we adjust that flex depending on the size of the person who's skiing on the skis, their ability, and their use of the ski. So the same person could need different flexes depending if it was a ski designed for hardpack or an all-mountain ski or a powder ski or whatever they're using it for.
It's basically how hard it is to bend the ski. So the stiffer a ski is, the more it wants to go straight, the less it wants to turn. And I think, to a point, the more aggressive a skier is, they're going to want a stiffer ski. But I think it also depends on, the snow conditions where it's going to be used. For a softer ski is going to be better in softer snow, and a stiffer ski is better on harder snow.
Sure. Perfect. Okay. Well, you guys have some different ways of selling skis. You've got off the rack, you've got custom, and you've got full custom. So what are the differences between kind of those 3 models?
We're calling them our ROMP ready skis now, which are basically off the rack skis, which is just like traditional ski shop. Basically, you walk in here, we've already made them. I think what's unusual about our experience is that we have hundreds of prototypes, basically, because every time we make a custom ski for someone, it's like testing the ski again, and we can get feedback and really refine our ROMP ready skis. So, and those are, they're at a lower price point, and people can just walk in and buy them. So it works out great for people that are here visiting and want something to ski, tomorrow and don't want to wait. Our custom process or semi-custom, you basically choose one of our shapes, and we'll help you choose the shape that's right for your intended terrain and your level of skill and all that. And we can customize the rocker, camber, flex, all the things we just talked about. Each ski we can change the intended purpose of it by changing those elements even a little bit. So, a ski that has less rocker is going to be better on hard snow. A ski with more rocker is going to be better on soft snow. Like I said, a stiffer ski is going to, lend itself to more aggressive skiing. And then our full custom, which we actually don't do a lot of, is basically where we design a ski for someone from the ground up. And usually those are really unusual requests. We made a ski for a guy who just loves skiing moguls in Japan, and he had this idea of a ski that had camber, and then it's going to be hard to imagine this on audio, but it had camber, and then it had a rocker tip that had camber in the tip. So,
whoa.
Yeah. And he loved the things. He actually ended up ordering a second pair. We have a pair on order right now that a guy wants a ski that's 215 long and 110 underfoot. So just a massive.
Cool.
And we don't sell the full custom super hard because you're basically getting an untested product then. And so the customer has to really know what they want and be kind of tech savvy for that to work out, because we really like to design our shapes and test them and make sure they do what we want them to do and they ski the way we want them to ski. So.
Yeah. Or they at least have to be okay with if it didn't go quite what they had envisioned in their head is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty good at building exactly what they want, but what they want may not be what they thought it was.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's a pretty expensive gamble, but we're glad people do it because it's fun. We get to do projects like those ones Morgan was talking about.
Yeah. Well, it is hard. Whether you're more of a beginner or intermediate skier, to know what you actually like, or even honestly, in my case, as someone who's skied like you guys since I was 3, I'm like, I don't know. How do you walk? Like, I just ski, like, to some extent. I do know what I like, but it's hard to pinpoint which of all those different aspects we're talking about are the parts I like or don't like or whatever.
And that's one thing that our designers, there's a few of us here in the factory that do it, we've gotten really good at over the years, is that people don't have to know what they want out of their skis. Because most people, you get the occasional person who's really into the tech of their equipment, and they would know it's the same person who can adjust the derailleur on their mountain bike, where most people can't. Our designers have gotten really good at just finding out from the person during our interview what their skiing is like and what they actually do. And then we can design the ski for you. That's what we do. So you don't have to know how much rocker you like in your skis. We'll help you with that.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect, because the next question I wanted to do, I actually want to reverse this, and you're going to interview me. So I want ring, ROMP skis. Hey guys, I heard you guys make good skis. My name's Frank. I don't know what ski I want. Go.
Right. So the way that works is we just start off with some basic information. So, height, weight, age, alpine, telly, really basic things about your skiing. So, once we just kind of have the basics of what size human being you are and what you do, the next question is it going to be your only pair of skis? So are you looking for an all mountain ski, or are we getting you, a hard pack ski for early season, or are you looking for a powder ski or a backcountry ski?
Let's say for the purposes of this interview, I want one ski inbounds. Right.
Okay. So you're looking for an all mountain ski. It's going to be a one ski quiver. You want to use it for everything, which is, that's the majority of what people say. Not most people don't have 3 or 4 pairs of skis. So we start to ask you about your skiing. When we can use Crested Butte as an example since we're here. If you're standing in Paradise Bowl by the North Face lift, looking down at that pitch that goes down to the lift there, are you going to ski that in 5 turns? Are you going to ski that in 10 turns? Are you going to ski that in 25 turns?
5 or less.
So if you're going to ski that in 2 or 3 turns, that means that you probably like a fairly long side cut ski, right? Because you don't need all that side cut to carve short turns. You're making big long arcs. So we can kind of move towards the skis in our line that have longer side cuts. And then one of our favorite questions is to ask, if you ride up the Silver Queen in the morning by yourself and you can go anywhere you want on the mountain, where do you go? Where's your number one spot?
Going to go straight to the high lift and then the North Face lift.
Right. And when you go up on the high lift, do you ski down the half pipe and work your way out to the middle and then ski the open zones? Or are you going to look for the tighter, rockier or tight trees type areas?
If the snow's decent, I'm going straight to Angle Gully or the
right. Right. So you're going straight into Angle Gully, and you know you're going to be coming out with some heat, right? You're not the person who's going to ski the traverse across to the middle and then make 40 turns down the open part of the bowl.
Sure.
Do you want your all mountain ski to lean towards being a better powder ski, or do you want to lean towards being a better hard pack ski? Because, you know, there's a lot of days when you just go up on the head wall on your first run, but it's not a powder day.
Right.
So we can make an all mountain ski that works really well for all kinds of conditions, but it's going to be the best on one day. And do you want that to be a soft day, or do you want that to be a hard day?
Well, you know, unfortunately, it doesn't snow as much as we'd like here, so it should probably be pretty good even when it's hard pack.
Right. And so I would say that from that, the shape that we would be starting with for you is our 106. It's 106 underfoot. It's got a 23-meter side cut, so it's a fairly long radius ski, kind of mid-width. What length do you normally ski on?
180 to 185.
Right, so we do that in a 185. So the 106, 185 is the shape that we're going to start with for your skis. I would recommend in that ski getting it with camber underfoot. We can make it flat, but flat skis don't hold an edge as well, and they're not as snappy and fun as a cambered ski. So I would recommend that ski cambered unless you have a strong feeling towards it a different way. We are going to rocker the tip and tail for you a little bit on that ski. We have lots of different rocker profiles, but since we're building an all mountain ski, we don't want to go too much, right? You're taking a bunch of effective edge off the ground, but we also want to give that ski enough rocker that it has that loose feel a little bit. So when you're in Angle Gully, you're able to get from edge to edge quickly and you're not dragging all that effective edge on the ground, right? So my recommendation on a ski like that would be to give you our 20 centimeter rise tip, which is kind of a mid-rocker tip. It's not too much, but not too little. It'll float when it's soft, then it gets a little off the ground. And then we have a tail called the patrol tail. And the patrol tail is kind of a low, flat rocker in the tail where we lift about 15 to 20 centimeters off the ground. But it doesn't have a full twin tip on it. It's just a low, flat rocker. Gotcha. And that's nice because it gives you a little bit less effective edge. You can move your skis around quickly, but it also will give the ski a little more back seat. So if you come shooting out of Angle Gully and you're in the back a little bit, they're not going to banana peel out from underneath you. You want that support in the tail. So I think that patrol tail works really nice for that. And then the next step is to adjust the flex. So like we talked about earlier, we do tip, center, and tail. Do you like to feel a lot of snap and a lot of pop out of your skis, or do you like them to be a little bit more kind of mellow on the ground?
I like my skis dead as can be.
So a dead ski means that you don't want to be, when you carve that ski in a turn, you don't want it to be like a World Cup race ski where it's going to launch you into the air.
Actually catch air, which is fun, but
right. So you want to do the work yourself. You want to carve the turn and then place the ski into your next turn, not have it launch you.
Yeah.
And that involves not having too stiff of a tail. When the tail gets stiff, the tail gets snappy. So a ski like that would have something like a soft plus or medium minus in the tip. And then we can make it fairly stiff through the center, medium plus or stiff. And that's your stability at high speed. So your skis don't get wobbly. Okay. And they'll hold an edge well. But then we'll soften the tail a little bit. We can go down to medium or medium minus in the tail. And that'll take away that kind of launching effect out of the tails and keep them more mellow underneath you.
Awesome.
With all of our skis, we have different build options. So the standard build on that ski that we're talking about would be our poplar core with fiberglass. And then it'll have some carbon stringers in it that add reinforcement. But we can upgrade it. We have a material called countervail, which is a dampened carbon fiber, which makes the skis lighter and more damp at the same time, which is not the normal combination of things. Normally heavier is more damp.
Right.
But the countervail allows for a light damp ski, it's a really cool material. So that's an upgraded version of that ski that we can do. And then we sell bindings. You get a choice of our 50 or so graphics on your skis.
We can do
how much extra is it when people bring you a custom graphic? Just out of curiosity.
So custom graphics, we charge $100 to print them. And then the graphic design time is $125 an hour if we do it for you. Most people are 3 to 5 hours of design time. But if someone has the ability to do it themselves, or there's someone in their office as a graphic designer or whatever, we can send them the templates and the instructions, and they can do that part on their own.
Cool. Well, that was really that was fun doing that shortened interview, and it sounds like you got a good handle on what someone might be looking for, and the different ways you can adjust the ski to get that.
Yeah, it works. It works all the way through, an expert skier like yourself to, a 50-year-old guy who started skiing when he was 45. We can do it for him too.
Nice. So there's a ton of ROMPs in the lift line here in Crested Butte. I mean, almost as many as any other big brand, honestly. How many skis are leaving the valley, out of curiosity? Do you have numbers?
Not anything definite, but I think probably shipping about a third of our skis out of town, and the rest of them are here. And I mean, some of them we sell here, but they're to visitors. So they might pick them up here, but then they're going home to wherever they're from and skiing on them there too, or taking trips in other places. So it's always a little hard to tell, obviously that we're not selling 2/3 of our skis to Crested Butte locals, but they're, sold, they're picked up here at least.
Gotcha. Yeah. How many do you think leave Colorado? Or you think it's even?
I'd say about half of those ones that leave town are going out of state.
How often are you still playing with your designs and construction?
All the time.
It's constant.
Yeah. We're always, trying to think up new ideas and just kind of adding to what we make. This year, so kind of our most popular line is the 100 and the 115 models, which they've got a lot of side cut, super carvy skis. The 100 models is 100 underfoot, and it's more of a all mountain ski. And then the 115 is the powder ski version. And then this year we introduced an 89 underfoot version of that same ski. And I think the trend in the industry is to go now towards kind of narrower skis. I think a lot of people are, maybe it was wishful thinking before that everyone was going to have a fat ski all the time, but unfortunately powder days can be few and far between. And then it's also just fat skis are in a way are harder to ski, on hard snow. There's a lot of leverage working against you to keep that thing on edge. So the skinnier skis a little easier to keep on edge and hold an edge, and they're quicker in the bumps and stuff. So we introduced that 89 this year. And then in our pintail line, last year we developed a narrower version of that ski as well. The original pintail was 110 underfoot, and the new one's 99. And those skis are, they've got big shovels, and then they taper a lot towards the tail, and they have a lot of early taper in the tip and the tail. So they have a short effective edge. They're really kind of quick and easy to ski skis, really forgiving. They're great for Crested Butte terrain because, there's just a lot of tight places, tight trees, and not a lot of places to really let your skis run. So especially if you're someone who hasn't skied tight chutes and trees a lot, like those skis are just perfect for learning to ski that kind of terrain.
How are you testing them? Obviously it's kind of condition dependent. And if you were testing a ski in December that you were hoping was going to be a new nice powder ski, that was not going to work so well. So how you taking them out all year long, trying to get
usually during the beginning part of the season, we're too busy to be trying anything new.
Sure.
So it's usually around this time of the year that we start making prototypes, and obviously Morgan and I ski them. We have people who work in the factory. They're of different ability levels or different skiing styles than the two of us, and they ski stuff. And we get, if it's appropriate, we'll, put some lighter weight women on them, or, whoever's the right person for the ski, and try and get some good feedback on if the ski's doing what we're intending it to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll fine tune those prototypes and then either launch them as a new model later in the spring or in the fall.
Yep. How are you then also kind of taking into account the different likes and dislikes of those testers?
I mean, everyone has their own opinion on a pair of skis, but as we have people test them that we know, and we know how they ski, so you can say, okay, this person, is kind of a self-taught upper intermediate skier, or this person's has a race background, and so we have an idea of who we're aiming that ski at, and we're trying to have people test it that are close to whoever that is.
To the desire. Yeah. That totally makes sense.
And I've also found, since we started ROMP, it used to be I'd buy a pair of skis, and I'd usually only have one, and I'd kind of take a little time to get used to it. And then I'd ski it for a few years, and then I'd get a new pair, and then same thing would start over. And I think since we started ROMP and I'm switching skis all the time, I've moved more away from finding the ski that fits the way I ski to adjusting my skiing to fit the ski that I'm on. And I think that helps figure out who the ski is going to be good for. Because I'll like this 89, I found, in the bumps, if you can kind of ride the edges of it around because it has a short radius, and you see people skiing like that. So then I can go, okay, well, that ski is going to work really good for that type of skier because that's what it does well at. So
right.
I think it's definitely, since we've started the company, like learning how to test skis is something that we've had to do.
Yeah, that's absolutely a skill. I mean, we've run into each other at the big SIA trade show, which for people listening is the biggest trade show in North America. Brittany, my wife, and I will always go to the on snow days, and you get one run on a pair of skis, and we've been doing it so long. It's amazing how quickly you can figure out a ski. Like, oh, okay, I need to actually kind of ski like more centered, less forward pressure. Okay, I get what the ski's trying to do. I don't like that ski, or I do like that ski, but that's what it's trying to do. And
and then for us, it's not usually about whether or not we like it. We're just if we could build a whole factory full of skis that we like, and they're not really for anyone else, that doesn't do anyone any good.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So, that ability to adjust your skiing to ski the way the ski wants you to, then you know who the right person for that ski is.
Yeah.
And for us, it's even more complicated because then we take that shape and we can change all the aspects of it to really fine tune it to make it work for that person.
Right. And it's amazing how little, we haven't even gotten into really stupid stuff like mount points can do all kinds of crazy things for skis. And I mean, it's there are a lot of variables, and it's hard to keep a constant,
And sometimes we definitely have dead ends sometimes. Like we designed this thing, it's 108 underfoot, and it has a ton of side cut and a swallowtail. It's just total weird ski. And I super like them. They're really fun to ski on. But at the same time, I have trouble imagining who we would sell it to, and it's just like, this super weird thing that's kind of fun, but not, it's like the fifth pair of skis you would own, and not that many people have a fifth pair of skis they're going to own. Like,
right.
Their fat ski that's good on hard pack isn't really but there's not much of a market for that. So. Right. With a swallowtail. But yeah. It's part of what makes, this business fun is we can make something like that. That's just a fun experiment basically. And you still learn something about ski design by doing it. So
yeah, for sure. Switch up a little bit. So you guys are brothers. Did you guys get along when you were kids?
We get along better now.
Yeah, we didn't get along that well when we were kids.
I'm 4 years older, so we were never in high school at the same time or anything like that. We're definitely closer and better friends now than we were then.
Okay. Yeah. And how about, working together, running a business? That can create a ton of friction too. You guys have a pretty good working relationship and a division of labor? Or
we do. Obviously everyone gets frustrated with someone else at some point, but overall it works pretty well.
Awesome. How do you guys give back? Whether it's just to skiing in general or to Crested Butte,
we're in Crested Butte. There's a lot of nonprofits and things here. Obviously. So we get asked for a lot of skis to give away, and we kind of focused it down over the years that we like to give back to things that have to do with the outdoors, and they have to do with kids. So that's kind of what we have focused our giving on, and we try and help out any organization in town, or even wider than that if we can, that could benefit from some help from a company like ours. So we give a lot of skis to different nonprofits to auction off and give away if they can benefit kids.
Yeah, and I guess I should point out that you guys do make kid skis too.
We do. We make kid skis in the summer. So anyone who wants kid skis, you got to order them in the summer. We don't make them during the season.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's we've found is kind of the best way for us to give back is to help those types of nonprofits.
Yeah.
And then we have our chicken and waffles party every year too.
What is the chicken and waffles?
Have you not been to our chicken and waffles party?
I have not, unfortunately.
So this is the first year due to COVID since we've had the company that we haven't done it. But the Friday before the ski area opens. So the ski area usually opens on a Wednesday. So the Friday of the week before. So before most people from out of town have come in and the locals are all here, we usually throw a big party here at the factory and feed everyone fried chicken and waffles and drink a bunch of beer and have a good time.
I did not know that chicken and waffles was a New Hampshire thing.
Oh, no.
It's definitely not, but it's good.
Yeah. You can put maple syrup on it.
Yeah.
I was kidding. Yeah, the waffles. Yeah. Or I guess chicken. I don't know. Cool. Well, we can start to wrap things up a little bit. Crested Butte is home for you. Why do you each choose to stay here in Crested Butte?
I don't know. It's just a super nice place to live and nice community. And outdoor amenities are just awesome here. I'm a mountain biker and a kayaker, and mountain biking's really good. The kayaking's okay when there's water. And then the ski area, I think, is just there's not too many other ski areas where as an expert skier, you never get bored. And I think that's kind of, unique for resorts. Even when I lived in Vancouver, Whistler is basically so big, you don't get bored there either. But it's much more of a resort than Crested Butte. You feel like you're going to Disney or something when we'd go up to that place. So
yeah. And
city life's just not for me either. So
fair. And Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same things that attracted me to come here in the first place. It was the ski area first, and then all the other outdoor things, the mountain biking and kayaking and dirt biking that I learned were here later. And then this community has been a great place to raise my kids in.
Yeah,
my kids are as good at all the things I love to do as I am now, and that's pretty fun to watch. They started getting
better. Your kid's a really good racer, right?
Yeah. My son is heavily into ski racing. But,
nice.
Better at it than I ever was. But I mean, there's not that many places you can live where when your kids are 5 years old, you can put them on the bus by themselves and they can go to the ski area and go ski a few runs and then come home.
Right.
And we felt perfectly safe doing that here. So that's pretty amazing.
Absolutely. Let's see. People can learn more about you it's rompskis.com, I believe, right?
Yep.
And for anyone listening, if any of this stuff is not familiar to you, you guys have a really good website and you can look at what Camber and all these other things we've been talking about is. Anything you wish I would have asked that you just want to talk about?
I don't know. I think you pretty well covered it. That's what we do and why we do it.
Okay. Well, last question. Who else should I interview?
You could hit up August Has or Dodson Harper over at Resource Engineering Group. It's an interesting company in Crested Butte. It's an engineering firm and they do a lot of work out of town. And I think a lot of people in Crested Butte don't even, know it exists, but, they've got 13 engineers over there and it's a pretty successful company.
Good call. Dodson's come up. Well, actually, they both come up before. So, yeah. How about you, Caleb?
Have you talked to Matt or Kendall at Third Bowl Ice Cream?
No, they've been on my list as well a little bit. That would be good too. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for taking a part of your day off for me and chatting. And it was super fun talking skis. I could do it for hours, which I'm sure you guys probably have to stop yourself from doing sometimes.
That's what we do all day.
Well, cool. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys out there.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you on the mountain.
Thanks for listening to the Crested Butte Home podcast with me, Frank Kinsella. You can find all the episodes and real estate information at crestedbutterealestateagent.com. I do have some spring travel plans this year in 2022, but I do hope to get back to more regularly released episodes this summer. Thanks so much for your support. I know there are a lot of fans out there who have undoubtedly been missing the regular episodes of this podcast. And by the way, if you do get a second, please subscribe if you aren't already, and also please leave a review. I will get back to you as soon as I can with another episode of the Crested Butte Home podcast.